Lumber Liquidators PBA Tour on ESPN is brought to you by Etonic, the official footwear of the PBA. By Denny's, where America's favorite breakfast is now available to go. Real breakfast 24/7. By Geico. 15 minutes could save 15% on your car insurance. Visit geico.com. And by Lumber Liquidators, hardwood flooring for less.
I'd like to thank Ted Dobbins, the proprietor here at Taylor Lanes.
Wonderful, wonderful
great
man.
hospitality this week.
Daughter Erin,
who's the general manager here. And one championship in the books, another on the way. Up now, the PBA Women's Series Chameleon Championship. This is the second of 7 PBA Women's Series events this season. And it'll be a showdown between Michelle Feldman and Jody Wessner. Feldman, the 1 seed, and we want to remind you that Mike Machuga is in the booth with us. We'll hear from him just momentarily, just minutes after his second career title win. But this is Jody Wessner from Toledo, Ohio. She leads herself. A sleeper to start off with. Jody is a girl after many a man's heart. Her hobbies include poker and golf. Her favorite food is Mexican. She listens to Motley Crue. She's a big fan of the Ohio State Buckeyes, and her favorite movie is Caddyshack. Somebody put a ring on that woman's finger. Stat. Actually, she does have a ring on that finger. She is engaged. Her boyfriend, Aaron Hawkins, in attendance. And we are joined in the booth by Mike Machuga, who came all the way from the 5 slot to win his second career title. We take a live look at Michelle Feldman, and we'll let her throw her first down the lane and then hit you up, Mike. You had to work for that one. I mean, not only just as the 5 seed, but we saw multiple ball changes by you. How did the lanes and your mentality progress throughout this whole tournament today?
Well, I tell you what, it really just seemed like a lot of good guessing. They are real tough out there today. You know, we played the inside part of the lane majority of the week, if not all of it. And today, that just it seemed really tough in there, and I just did the best I could to manage what was going on around that first arrow. You know, a little right, a little left, a little straighter, a little more hook, and a little softer, a little more speed. And it just kind of felt like I was trying to hit the one closest to me most of the time.
Mike, what went through your mind when Bill O'Neill gave you the opening, knowing that you needed 2 strikes in the 10th to win?
Well, you know, all I could remember was 3 years ago when he struck in the 9th. I just said, you know, geez, this is the way it happened. You know, 3 weeks ago this week was the exact opposite situation. I had a chance to strike out in the 9th, 10th, and 11th to shut him out. And I couldn't believe it until after he shut the 2-pin. I said, wow, this is really happening. It really just gave me a chance. I didn't feel like I deserved it, but you do with what comes to you.
Feldman misses the 10 pin, so an open frame there in the second. You're talking about the 05 Greater Omaha Classic, in which you beat Bill O'Neill for your first tour title on this Chameleon oil pattern. And
was it really?
Yeah. See, we have some knowledge here. This is what all the papers are here for, to make us sound more intelligent than we really are in normal life. Here's Jody Wessner in the second.
That right lane does have a little wiggle spot on it.
So what's the secret? What's the key? What's the trick that you have to pull off on the right lane to get the ball to the 1-3?
You know, I was really just making sure that I just caught a little bit of it. I was only playing the board different with my feet, but I really just wanted to make sure that I caught just a little bit more of it on that lane, just to make sure it caught a little more than the left lane.
We're going to flash back to that win at the Greater Omaha Classic in Council Bluffs, Iowa. That was 2005. He beat Bill O'Neill, and there is the Machuga flop, and there are some disappointed fans here that we did not get a repeat of the Machuga flop.
You got 2 girls out there bowling in those lanes right now that are very happy that I didn't do it.
Hey, there's lanes on the outside. We'll light them up for you.
They don't have oil on them.
Jody is having some problems finding the pocket here.
What does Jody need to do, Mike?
I really think that if she can get her feet and her target about 4 or 5 boards to the right, there is some pretty good friction out there from what I had built. That she can create a little margin for error out there. Michelle's not able to do that. She likes to play the middle part of the lane. I think Jody needs to scoot a little right, try to find some friction.
Her first televised finals appearance this season. Rolled a high of 267 this week, did Jody. And in July of this year, she actually beat Jason Couch in Cincinnati. I know you were highlighting and putting stars next to that tidbit, Randy.
What are you talking about? She had a great match against Couch. She beat him 279 to 257 in Cincinnati at Cherry Grove Lanes, where Brian Himmler, PBA champion, owns the pro shop. She bowled great. She said Jason was very gracious in defeat, so I don't know what your agenda is, mister.
I have no agenda. Michelle Feldman, that is the first strike of this match, and Michelle is dealing with some thumb issues right now.
Mike, talk about just how sensitive the release zone is. You know, if you catch it a little too much, if you don't catch quite enough of it, and how that translates into ball motion down the lane.
You know, this pattern isn't the longest of patterns that we bowl on. It's a little bit shorter, and especially on the TV set, these lanes have been cleaned, have been walked on. There's debris all over them, so they need to be cleaned again. So they've been extra cleaned over the last couple of days, and that accentuates the shortness of the pattern. So anything that has a little bit of grab or a little extra hit is going to end up right in the middle of the hit pin.
The oil just 40 feet long. Wessner still trying to find her first strike and leaves double wood. That's the third time she's done that in her opening 4 frames. Well, if you keep leaving that, what's the adjustment you need to make?
Right, right, right.
So you're telling me right?
I would say move right.
Okay.
What do you think, Randy?
I think I'd move right.
You know, if you talk as loud as you did when I was bowling, you might be able to get her to move right.
He was loud, wasn't he?
Well, you know what, and this is the second time she's going to make that spare. But you know what, Mike? It's hard when you've got a headset on, you've got Corbin Daly, my producer, yelling in one ear, and Rob Stone yelling in the other. I can't even hear myself think, buddy.
I love you, buddy. I'm just busting on you. You know that. I'm sure we'll be ripping on each other on the golf course here soon.
Well, and apparently my yelling, according to you, really hurt your chances of winning today. So you better think of a new one, mister.
Yes, sir.
That looks a little better.
She cut that one well.
Yeah.
And there we go, her first strike of this title match in the PBA Women's Series.
And Mike, you're right. You know, she's going to keep inching right and inching right, and I think she's going to find a home where you had played the lanes all day today. And you know, we had talked about this oil pattern not being able to play out there, and yet you found a way to not only play out there, but to win out there.
Man, I was just trying to hit the one closest to me. I swear. You know, I just got enough shots out there to build a little something. And, the middle of the lane never looked good enough to move in there.
Feldman gets another strike. She's number 2 in the PBA Women's Series points ranking list and the money list, and her average is up and number 1 in the series. 216. Last year was 208. And that is 3 in a row for Feldman, and the lead swells to 32. Say it with me, Mike. Tailbone! And on that, we thank you, Mike Machuga. It was a pleasure. Good win. You may now go celebrate with somebody else besides us. Mike Machuga, thanks for joining us. He has won his 2nd career Lumber Liquidators PBA Tour title in the final of the women's. When we return, Michelle Feldman in cruise control.